Hi everyone, welcome to Eco Learning Classes. This is Professor Geeta Mahesh. Dear students, today we will be discussing, does public debt imposes a burden? This is important for 4 marks. Now let us discuss why public debt arises when government expenditure is greater than government revenue. In that situation, government need to borrow. So when government borrows, that we call it as public debt. Now the question is, public debt or government borrowing imposes a burden? Let us discuss. If public debt is used when you borrow and borrowed money used for productive purpose, definitely it will generate income and output. When it generates income, easily you can pay the interest, and when you are able to pay interest as well as the principal amount, then this public debt won't be a burden. So that means in that situation, when you are using for productive purpose, in that situation, this public debt will not impose a burden on anyone. So we are talking that on economy or on public. Definitely not, because we are using borrowed money for productive purpose, which generates income and output. With that you can repay the interest as well as the loan, and in that situation it will not impose any burden. If it is used for unproductive purpose, definitely it will reduce the future growth in the output. And it will also prove burden by borrowing, because the government transferred the burden of reduced consumption on future generation. See, now if they are using for unproductive purpose, definitely it will not generate income and output as we discussed with respect to productive purpose. So then this borrowing is a burden, because the government transferred the burden of reduced consumption on future generation. How means government borrows by issuing bonds to people at present and may decide to pay off these bonds after some years by rising taxes. So government is going to impose tax in order to repay those loans. If they use for productive purpose, there itself they are able to generate income and output. Out of this income they can repay. But if they use for unproductive purpose, if they want to repay the loan along with the interest rate, definitely they have to impose tax on future generation. So when government is going to impose the tax on young population who have just entered into the working force, their personal disposable income is going to decrease. What is personal disposable income? Personal income minus personal tax payment. When tax is more, for example, if personal income is 1000 and high tax, let me take it as 300 rupees is imposed, then only 700 is available for a person to consume as well as to make a savings. So personal disposable income can be written like this: consumption plus savings. If personal tax is imposed only just 100 rupees, how much is there? 900 disposable income is there, out of which you can increase the consumption as well as savings. So that is what they are trying to tell. Their disposable income and consumption will go down, and public debt also reduces the amount of savings available to private sector. which leads to reduction in the capital formation and growth. See here, private people will get a financial assistance when public is going to make a savings, right? So here savings itself is very less than the capital available for private people to make or form capital formation and undertake a developmental activities means they need a savings, but savings are less. Definitely these two will come down. Thus, public borrowing is a burden on future generation. This is one way argument where if we use for productive, it is not a burden. If it is used for unproductive purpose, then it is a burden because to pay or repay the loans, you need to impose a tax which reduces the consumption. When consumption decreases, demand decreases. When demand decreases, profits decreases and investment is going to further decreases. So this will bring the economic activities downwards. So because of that reason, we say that public borrowing is a burden. And at the same time, you can see here, if domestic borrowing is not a burden, they say that if it is borrowed within the country, then it is not a burden because purchasing power remains in the hands or within the economy or country. Either government is going to spend or household people will be going to spend. Okay, household people will spend or government is going to spend. So the purchasing power remains within the economy. So no need to worry if it is borrowed within the country. If it is external borrowing, that means you are borrowing from outside the country, then it is a burden because now you will borrow, but at the time of repayment, what happens? Money will go out of the country, cash will go out of the country along with the interest rate. You need to pay even interest. So when money goes out of the country in the economy, money is going to decrease and demand is going to decrease. This again have downward or slowdown of economic activities. Because of that reason, we can say that public borrowing is a burden. Dear students, if you like, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.